read as many new plays as you can. It's honestly one of the most educational things that I feel like I've done as a playwright, is just to keep myself saturated with new work. Hi, my name is Nick Malakhow. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the writer of Affinity Lunch Minutes, and I'm here workshopping it at the O'Neill National Playwrights Conference. So Affinity Lunch Minutes centers around Ben and Jasmine, two black teachers at an ostensibly liberal, predominantly white Quaker private school. Jasmine is a history teacher who is more passionate and a little bit of a firebrand, and Ben is the more agreeable teacher who has worked his way up in the school to be the diversity dean. At the start of the play, a racially charged discipline incident disturbs the balance, I guess, between the relationship between Ben and Jasmine. So I started writing Affinity Lunch Minutes in the spring of 2020. Around that time, there were a number of Instagram accounts that popped up connected to predominantly white institutions, and these Instagram accounts were managed by current and former black students and alumni who are connected to these institutions, and they detailed the harms they faced in these institutions and challenges they faced having to navigate these institutions. And personally, as a multiracial person who has grown up in and gone to and worked at any number of predominantly white institutions, these experiences spoke to me in a lot of ways, both from a broad sense and also very specifically schools that I had worked at and gone to were represented. At that time, I just started thinking a little bit about just my experiences navigating those institutions and the ways in which those institutions challenged me and harmed me and othered me, but also at the same time the ways in which I felt complicit in the structures of those institutions as well. Learning I was a finalist, there was a little bit of denial, I would say. My fiance, as I was sort of getting the, you got a semi-finalist notification and you're a finalist notification, he kept saying, what if you get this opportunity? And part of me was just kind of pushed that thought to the back of my head. Of course, I was absolutely thrilled and elated the moment I got that finalist email. And actually, I guess, funny story about finding out I got in the conference, I was being a terrible Zoom teacher because I was in a faculty meeting when I actually checked my email to see that I had gotten into the conference, and had a little moment of having to turn my camera off and process that in that moment there.
Reg Douglas, I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm directing Affinity Lunch Minutes at the National Playwrights Conference. What I love about directing new work is the sense of adventure. You know, you kind of don't know what's gonna happen every day. I like to lead rooms with curiosity and a lot of what ifs, and I think the O'Neill is the perfect place to do that. Directing on Zoom is weird. It's really weird, you know. The great gift is you still can turn and look at the playwright, and so I'm so excited that the playwright and dramaturg are in person with me in the room. We're able to still, you know, even with our mask on and our distance, feel each other and feel the nods and look across the room. And the actors being on Zoom, while, you know, far from ideal, is still such a gift to have their voices and their insights. We're all just saying yes. You know, we're all leaning in. We're saying we're gonna make the best of this situation, because it's not about us, it's about the play and all the work we can do to help make the play stronger and Nick's experience better. We're the first play up, and so Nick has this special gift, you know, to hang out for 3 weeks at the O'Neill, which is kind of like the best writer's retreat you can ask for, and take some of the ideas that we've talked about this week, some of the questions that maybe you're still unanswered or still trying to figure out yay or nay to them, and ruminate. He gets to just kind of stew on them for the next few weeks and go to the beach and get aha moments. So I'm excited for him to have the chance to process this week without the pressure of actors, director, and dramaturg staring at him. I think that's one of the gifts of this being a retreat for the writers, is they get this space, you know, this air to breathe the play. I am so grateful to the O'Neill. I've directed a National Playwrights Conference and the National Music Theater Conference, and have been able to come back and hang out at NTI with all the students and Rachel, and so I'm so grateful to have an artistic home and community here, and to consider the amazing staff led by Wendy, colleagues and friends. So it's like coming home, and you get to welcome more artists into the fold each time you come, new playwrights, new actors. All of our actors, I think, for the most part, are having their first O'Neill experience, Nick's first time here. It's such a boon and such a gift, so it's good to be back.
There have been many, many highlights so far. The first highlight is getting the chance to be in a rehearsal room with people again. I know that the conference is different this year and that obviously the actors aren't here, but the way that our rehearsal room is set up here to be in the room with your director and your dramaturg, stage management, script assistants, artistic director, and literary manager at times, has been an absolutely awesome feeling and feels very much like a stepping stone and so very close to being back to live and in-person theater. My play in particular, while it is a drama at heart, it is threaded with a lot of comedy. So I've heard it read on Zoom 4 times at this point, but I hadn't yet had the chance to watch it with other people in the room with me to sort of feel that energy, and that just gave me a new understanding of what the shape of my play was, and that was an absolutely awesome experience. Even though I was laughing, it actually made me tear up. It actually made me cry to hear people responding to the play, which was kind of a funny moment. One of the other things, obviously, that I'm excited about is just the chance to be with the playwrights this year, and just having the opportunity to connect. I love new plays and new work. I'm a really avid reader. I try to read at least one new play a day and have done that for the past couple of years. It's honestly one of the most educational things that I feel like I've done as a playwright, is just to keep myself saturated with new work and to understand what people are writing. Whenever there's a major contest or a major list that comes out, I try to read all the plays from that list just to kind of understand a pulse of both what are people concerned about, what are people writing about, is playwriting changing, in what ways are people using theater to tell stories. Read as many new plays as you can, and also not being afraid to reach out and connect with other playwrights, especially on something like New Play Exchange. Just the fact that there is an opportunity to connect with other playwrights. I forge both great personal and professional relationships just by reaching out to people whose work I admire.